When you work at Walt Disney World, you see some pretty crazy things. Today, we are going to be sharing some of those things with you. Welcome back to Backstage Thoughts. This is episode 1 of our Disney World cast member stories. I'm Tommy.
I'm Kenzie.
And let's get right into it.
While working at Walt Disney World, I was at Caribbean Beach Resort in their quick service restaurant. And one of my favorite encounters that I had was this little girl and her mom. They were coming in after a really long park day, and the little girl could not stop telling me about how she rode Rock and Roller Coaster that day. And she loved it. She went on it like 5 times. And so I was just having conversation with them. She kept bringing it up. So I gave them some cupcakes, stickers, ice cream, and they took that back to their room with them. Then they told me that they were going to be there for about 3 more days, staying at Caribbean Beach Resort. The next day, we had gone to Cast Connections, which, if you don't know, is a merchandise shop just for the cast members at Disney World.
Yeah, everything's like super discounted, and it's all stuff. It's like clearance stuff they're trying to get rid of. Like, it's like stuff from like 4 years ago that says like 2016 on it or something like that. But you can find all sorts of weird stuff there.
Well, while we were there, I found a pin, and on it said, "I conquered Rock and Roller Coaster at Hollywood Studios." And I bought it. I was like, if I see this girl again, I'm going to give it to her. I waited the next day. She wasn't there. The following day, I waited. She wasn't there. I ended up giving it to my coworker, who also talked to the girl and her mom. And I was like, hey, if you see them, give this to the girl. Like, you don't have to say it's from me or anything. Just give it to her because I think she would really like it. It ended up no one saw her the following day either. So now I just have this random pin that doesn't really have to do with anything that I experienced while that I was there. But it's a really cool story, just seeing the guest interaction play out.
I mean, it does have something to do with what you experienced while you were there. You have this whole story attached to it. I think that's more than any other pin.
It wasn't the first time I rode the ride or anything.
Yeah, but that's not why you have the pin. You didn't buy the pin because you rode the ride. You bought the pin for this girl that ditched you.
Yeah, she never came back. No one else saw her.
So I worked at Pirates of the Caribbean. And this one particular day, I want to say it was maybe a month after we got there. It was not long after we got there. I was still pretty new to this. And I'm at Unload, which is essentially I'm the person that tells you to watch your step when you get off the ride. That's me. Every 30 seconds, I hit a button, another boat comes in, and I repeat the same thing about watching your step. That's what I was doing in this particular time. We rotated, right? So I wasn't doing that all the time. But I'm at Unload. This woman comes up, and she goes, "Do you guys not have cameras in there?" And I'm like, well, we do, but the person that is responsible for watching the cameras is also responsible for doing a million other things. So, like, sometimes they miss things, like, what happened? And she goes, those people in front of us, in the front of our boat, those high school kids with their high school shirts on that says the name of their school on it, they kept jumping out of the boats onto the sets of the different scenes and then jumping into the boats. And I'm like, okay, that's definitely not allowed. I will for sure tell my supervisor about that. And she's like, I have a video. I'm like, you have a video? She's like, yeah, do you want to see it? I'm like, yes, I'm very interested in seeing this video. Pause for a second. Hey, it's future Tommy. There's one thing that past Tommy forgot to mention, and that's that I did not initially believe this woman, or at least I didn't believe what she was saying was completely true. I thought it was exaggerated. And the reason for that is that there are sensors all over the place in that ride. We call them intrusion sensors. They set off an alarm when they detect an intrusion, which means that someone is in the ride when they should not be in the ride. And that is something that Tower would be aware of and can act accordingly when they notice that there's an intrusion. No intrusion sensors were set off. So these kids must have gotten very, very lucky. I don't know how they dodged them without knowing where they are, but somehow they managed to do this multiple times to jump out of the boats, onto the sets, back into the boats without setting off a single intrusion alarm. So she pulls out her phone and she shows me a video, sure enough, of people, those kids, that they're probably, 16, 17, jumping out of the boats onto the sets and then back into the boats. So I'm like, okay, give me 1 second. pick up the phone. They're not like actual phones, but like you can call different positions in the attraction. And you can also call, so there's two phones. There's like an intercom phone, and there's also a park phone where you can call any other phone in the park. So I use the park phone. I call my coordinator, and I'm like, there's a video you might want to see. So I explain everything, and she's like, all right, have the guests meet me like out at the front of the attraction. So I tell the guests, I'm like, all right, thank you so much for this. My supervisor's out front. She's wearing like a striped brown and white shirt. Go talk to her, go show her this video, and she can do something about it. And this was right at the end of my shift. Like, this lady comes up to me probably 5 minutes before my bump out is supposed to come, which is when you get the piece of paper that essentially tells you go home. So I really had no idea what happened. I sent this lady up to go speak with the coordinator, and then I went home. I did also, on my way out, go up to Tower, which is, when you're like on the ride and you're going in and you look up, you see that person up there? That's Tower. So the person up there is also the person that can like watch all the cameras. So I went up there on my way out because I have to walk through there to get to the break room. And I asked, I'm like, so-and-so, the person, I remember who it was, I'm not going to say their name. I'm like, did you see anyone jumping out of boats by any chance? And she's like, no. I'm like, well, it happened. There's a video. So I go home. I come in the next day. Actually, I think I had the next day off. So I come in like 2 days later. And no one's talking about this. It's not like a conversation. I was expecting maybe people would be talking about it. No one's talking about it. So I just kind of go about my day as normal, and eventually I run into the person that was in Tower when this all went down. And I'm like, hey, do you ever know what happened about those people that were jumping out of boats? And she's like, oh, yeah. So they got kicked out of the park. They are banned not only from Walt Disney World, but all Disney parks for life. And since they were there on a high school senior trip, and they were wearing the shirts that had their school's name on it, their high school is no longer allowed to do senior trips at Disney World. So not only did I get a group of essentially kids banned from every Disney park for life, I also got their entire high school banned from Disney for life. I mean, kind of deserved. Like, I don't feel bad. That's a very, very stupid and also very dangerous thing to do. So yeah, no regrets on my part, but I wasn't really expecting that to happen, but they were able to identify them very quickly. I saw what shirts and what their shirts said on it, so that, it was very easy to track them down based on that, and they got booted. Those are just two of many, many, many Disney cast member stories that we have. If you enjoyed those stories, if you're interested in hearing more, such as maybe the time I got cursed out by an old man, or maybe the time that I caught a child peeing in the bushes at Magic Kingdom. If you're interested in any of those stories or some other stories we may have to tell, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And also be sure to give this video a like and maybe leave a comment to let us know that you enjoyed these stories.
Thanks, everyone. See you later.
Bye-bye.
The little girl could not stop telling me about how she rode Rock and Roller Coaster today. And...
What?
Go.
Go where? Where am I going?
What was that?
I don't know.